2014 Chino City Council meeting. Will you all rise and join me in the flag salute? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Have a seat. Under ceremonials, we have a presentation. The National Senior Citizens Day, August 21st, 2014. I'd like to call up Eileen Schultz, Howard Williams, Donna Chambers, Diana Kidze, Mary Harshfield, Boann Estrada, and Maria Rodriguez. If you'll all come forward. Everybody here? All right. The proclamation reads, whereas in August 1988, President Ronald Reagan signed Proclamation 5847 and Congress passed House Joint Resolution 138 proclaiming August 21st as National Senior Citizens Day. And whereas throughout Chino's history, senior citizens have been at the forefront of progress, serving as the vital members and leaders of business, families, community organizations, churches, and dedicating countless hours of volunteer service to the community. And whereas the city of Chino is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for all senior citizens through recreational programming, educational classes, excursions, and civic engagement. The city also recognizes the value of intergenerational exchange opportunities that allow youth to benefit from engaging with and learning from the knowledge and experience that senior citizens possess. And whereas the city of Chino, through the Healthy Chino Coalition, is dedicated to increasing healthy lifestyle options for all members of the community, including senior citizens who, due to improved health care and healthier living, are one of the fastest growing populations in Chino. That's me too. And whereas the Senior Citizen Club of Chino serves as an advocate, giving notice to seniors throughout the Chino, and has been instrumental in working towards the continued growth of senior services, including the creation of the Chino Senior Center from more than 20 years ago. And whereas for many accomplishments through their life and for all that they have continued to contribute, senior citizens are owed a debt of gratitude and a commitment that Chino will remain a good place in which older Americans may participate to the fullest and lead lives of independence and dignity. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Shates, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim August 21st, 2014 as Senior Citizens Day. We'd like to present that to you. Eileen?
My goodness, this is quite an honor. The council and the city has been so supportive of us seniors at the Senior Center, and we thank them so much. They're always behind us. The police department and every service within the city is really always there for the seniors. And thank you for all the support.
Well, it's our privilege, and we really, our senior club across the street here is really active. And it's not that we do things. They tell us what to do, and then we haven't done it. That's how it really works. Anybody else wish to speak? Anybody? No? What are you doing? What are you doing with all these women anyway?
Okay.
What happened?
Mary, Ace, I don't know, boy. Yes, my family's been involved with the Senior Center for a number of years and everything, and I'm proud to be a part of it now. And yes, the city and the police department, fire department, they've been so helpful for us that it cannot be measured. So thank you.
You're the only thorn amongst all these roses. You'd have to be. Congratulations, and keep up the good work. Eileen, thanks. Now we have a special presentation, Certificate of Achievement for USJA, USJF Senior Nationals, bronze winner and Junior Olympic competitor. I'd like to call up Shadi Ibrahimi. You want to bring your dad up too? Come on up. Shadi is one of the hardest working and talented individuals this city has to offer. Shadi is also well trained in karate, taekwondo, and jiu-jitsu. Guys got to watch out, they test you for a date, huh? She has won silver and bronze in junior nationals in 2013 and bronze in 2014 Senior Nationals. Shadi's sensei, Gary Goltz, says if she keeps going the way she is, she can make it to the 2016 Olympic team. Ooh. I would like to reiterate Mr. Goltz's comments and ensure that the entire city supports her in her efforts and are extremely proud of her accomplishments. So in that, we'd like to present you a certificate. To Shadi, you are to be commended for your hard work and dedication. Congratulations on your achievement at the USJA and the USJF Senior Nationals bronze winner and Junior Olympics competitor. We'd like to recognize you for your achievements. And would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Well, I don't know if a lot of people, when I talk to them, they don't know what judo is because it gets kind of mixed up in all the other martial arts. But what it is, it's like takedowns, and it's like it is a martial art, yeah. And like we have belts and everything, and I'm a brown belt, and it's just like takedowns, and like the objective is to throw your opponent onto their back, and it's pretty physical, I guess, but yeah, I don't know, just
Stomp on them.
not that far, but yeah, I just want to say thanks to my dad because he supports me a lot, and he does a lot for me, and thanks to the city for giving me this. And above all, I just want to glorify God because he gives me everything that I have. So, yeah.
Great. Well, the city of Chino has a propensity to produce Olympic gold medal winners. You didn't know that? We have two of them from Don Lugo, two ladies, Diane Tarasi, who's now a basketball player. Yeah, she played the Connecticut, took them 4 times to the NCAA championships. Then she's won, what, 3 or 4 gold medals in the Olympics. And then the softball player. Huh? O'Brien, yeah. She was the softball, and she's won 2 or 3 gold medals too. So we have a propensity to produce young ladies that go all the way to the Olympics. So I want to wish you the best of luck and congratulations. Nice to meet you, sir. Keep up the good work. Oh, yeah, sure. Dad's going to take a pic here. Huh? Flip? No, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's it? Okay, next is public communications. It's a time and place for the general public to address the City Council about subjects that do not appear elsewhere on the agenda. Due to council policy and Brown Act requirements, action cannot be taken on any issues not on the agenda. I'd like to call up Adam Knowles of Inland Hills Church at the invocation, and this time I'd like to invite anyone who wishes to address the invocation to please rise. Pastor?
All right. Would you mind bowing your head and praying with me? God, we just thank you so much for this time and the ability and opportunity to come together collectively, God, for the betterment of this city, God. We pray that you bless this time, that you bless the conversations that will be happening in this room, God, and that you allow each and every person here to keep their eyes and their minds focused on the tasks and subjects on hand that will allow the city to continue to be the amazing city that it is, God, and that these conversations aid in the forward motion of the city of Chino and the people in it. So, God, it's an honor and a blessing to call this town home. You are loved, and it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Have a seat, folks. Thank you, Pastor. Okay, I have 3 requests to speak under public communications. First one is Glenn Durrington. Glenn? Something wrong now. Here we go. Glenn?
I don't know if it's an honor to be first or not, but anyway, I'm a longtime resident of Chino and also a proud supporter of my first place Angels today. At least today, I'm not sure about tomorrow. So anyway, I see where the county is going to auction off 80 acres of property east of the airport. And I thought that was purchased as a safety zone several years ago. And so what happened?
I wasn't aware that the county was doing that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have informed you earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, they're going to auction it off.
Wouldn't you be addressing the county supervisors?
I should.
Yeah, I think you're in the wrong place.
That whole bunch should be gone. But anyway, they're going to sell it, and then I don't know what they want to do with it. But it was there, bought for a safety zone. And I know there's been a plane crash about 100 yards west of there once, right along Kimball, or along Merrill. And there's one crashed in the lower south end. I'm not sure if it was quite on that property, kind of across the street from Ninehouse there. And there was one across further south, crashed. A veteran pilot of 50 years, took off in the fog, turned around to come back. When he decided it was too foggy, hit a tree and killed him. It took him 2 hours to find him because it was so foggy no one could see him. And, well, then on DeBoer's property, there was a guy that crashed there, too. So there's been plane crashes in the area. The one in DeBoer's, that was his own fault. He had 8 hours of solo time after he got his license, and he was flying his family to Havasu City. His carburetor iced up, and he didn't know how to de-ice. Crashed and killed all of them. So the safety zone should be there. And I don't know why the county all of a sudden wants to sell it. And if they do sell it, or attempt to, I think you guys should just put a thing out there that says that's going to remain ag property from now on. And nobody will buy it for a warehouse.
We'll have to check into that. Do you know anything about it, Mayor?
This is correct. The county did purchase it several years ago. It's 75 acres. They declared it surplus, and the approximate value or appraised value was $32 million. But I do think that there's probably an intent by many of the developers out in that area to develop that property.
Oh, really?
Whatever the price is, though, won't affect Chino at all. It'll go into that rat hole in San Bernardino.
We know that. You can say that. I can't.
Well, I know when they fired us at SCAF, we kept asking them how much, where our money was. We had $8 or $9 million in reserve that we had brought in on rent on the property. And for a year, we kept asking them for an accounting of it, and they wouldn't do it. Finally, they fired us. They got tired of us asking.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, there was one other thing I thought of when I was here. It's going to days are getting longer pretty soon. There's still people ride horses at night, in the evening, and they need some tape, reflecting tape around the horses' ankles or their saddles or something. Because I've almost hit some kind. They'll be crossing on the Benson, and as I come out Francis, and just at sundown, they don't realize, I guess, how dark it got so soon. So I think it'd be a good safety item.
Put some running lights on them.
Yeah. Need a battery. Then reflecting tape would.
I was kidding, but you can get them? Okay.
Would make a big difference, though.
Yeah.
I thought I had something else, but I guess not.
All right.
Mostly, I just don't want to see the county sell that property and take that money. And if you zone it ag forever, they can't do much about it. And even then, I thought that it was only supposed to be, and all that property, it has to be ag related all the way to Carpenter. And that limits you to only 3 or 4 people in a warehouse, something like that.
Yeah.
It's probably airport
Take off and landing patterns.
Airport related.
Yeah.
Airport related is what they call it.
Yeah. I don't know how much stuff that airport related can do.
Well, a lot of it depends on how many employees you can have in the building they build. It would be industrial buildings, things like that. It wouldn't be homes.
Yeah, I know that.
And then it depends on, warehousing has less employees than manufacturing and stuff like that. So that's what the law is, or the ordinance is on it.
I know, but how much airport related stuff can you do?
That's a good question. Good question.
Yeah. And somehow
I don't know, is it airport related or is it industrial?
No, I believe right now it's just ag.
Ag and so they're.
right now it's ag, but FAA says has to be airport related. FAA says that. Even over on Kimball, that some of that property is airport related. So I just don't know how much stuff you can do. They have empty buildings at the airport already. So anyway, I'll leave you on.
Thanks, Glenn.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Next. Congresswoman Grady McLeod's representative, who has horrible handwriting. What's your name?
Johnny Pineda.
Johnny Pineda, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Hi. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to speak. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. It's an honor to be here today, and I'm just here to invite the community of Chino to a resource fair that the Congresswoman Gloria Negrete McLeod is hosting at the community building this Friday. We have invited many different federal agencies, county agencies, nonprofit organizations, such as the Department of Veterans Affairs, Social Security Office. We also have invited Employment Development Agency, Working Investment Board, for those dislocated workers who are still struggling in this economy to, get back on track and get a job. So please join us this Friday. The event is gonna start at 9 a.m. So you can, grab some of the resources. We are gonna have refreshments as well, and we hope that everyone can attend. I'm gonna place these flyers next to the agenda, and so once the meeting is adjourned, everyone is free to grab them. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you, Johnny. Next, Michael Cervantes from Senator Norma Torres' office.
Good evening, Mayor Yates, and good evening, council members. I just wanted to come real quick and extend an invitation to our upcoming senior scam stopper that's taking place here in Chino. On behalf of the senator, extend an invite to not only the council, but also to the community. It's going to be this Thursday, August 21st from 3 to 4:30 at the American Legion Hall, Chino Post 299, which is on Central Avenue. And so it's a great opportunity to come and learn about some of the scams that are really prevalent in the senior community, and also just to help, educate yourself and educate seniors on how to prevent themselves from becoming victims of those scams. So it's not only open to seniors, it's open to family members as well, anybody who's interested in this topic. So we hope to see as many of you as possible at the event. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's all the written requests I have. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on any item that does not appear on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll close public communications. Next is consent calendar. Anybody wishing to pull a line for discussion can do so now.
Mayor, I need to pull item number 10. I have a, on consent, was it 10? Was it? 10. Yeah, number 10, I have a conflict with that company. It happens to be one of my clients, so I'll have to not be able to vote.
Okay.
So, Mayor, what we should do is take separate motions to approve the consent item and then item 10 separately. Because it's a consent item, Mr. Howie can stay on the dais.
Okay. So we'll move all the rest of the consent calendar with the exception of item 10. And we have a motion by Councilmember Yellow and seconded by Councilmember Elrod. Please vote. Item passes unanimously. Item 10. Where Councilman Howie has a conflict of interest. I need to entertain a motion. Moved by Councilman Elrod, seconded by Councilmember Yaloa. Please vote. We have 3, 4, and 1 abstention, that being Councilman Howie, and item passes. Next, under public hearings, prior to the vote of the City Council, any member of the audience will have the opportunity to address the council on any items listed under public hearings. You are reminded you have a 5-minute limit. Item 21, introduction of ordinance number 2014-015, amendment to Title 16, signs, And our staff report this evening is by Nicholas Ligori, our Director of Community Development. Mr. Ligori?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The city sign code contains a section regulating the placement of political signs, which includes a requirement for candidates to register with the Community Development Department and to be financially responsible for the removal costs of illegally placed signs, and to place a deposit with the city to be utilized for cost recovery in case city personnel has to remove illegally placed political signs. Staff is recommending that the City Council eliminate the deposit requirement for several reasons. One is that the sign code currently contains provisions for the abatement of illegal signs and authorizes the issuance of fines or administrative citations which can be used for cost recovery if city personnel do have to remove illegal signs. These fines can be up to $1,000 per violation, which acts as a strong deterrent and exceeds the $250 deposit that's currently required. And additionally, the city does not require deposit for any other type of signs, including temporary commercial signs such as promotional banners that businesses might have. And the courts have ruled in the past that cities have to regulate commercial and non-commercial signs in a somewhat equivalent manner. And so for those reasons, staff is recommending that the council conduct a public hearing and approve the introduction of Ordinance 2014-15.
Thank you. Prior to council comment or questions, I'll open this as the public hearing. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this issue may do so now. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We have a motion by Councilman Elrod, seconded by Council Member Howie. I said Huey. Huey. Please vote. I get no respect. Item passes unanimously. City Attorney?
Yes, Mayor, this is ordinance number 2014-15. It reads an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Chino, California, amending the sign code amendment.
Thank you. Under new business, item 22, sale of city-owned property, 13001 Central Avenue, Chino, California, former Chino Experience Teen Center. Councilman Elrod?
Yes, I have a question to the city attorney, please. My son-in-law is part owner of Film This Productions. He was one of the bidders on the item, and I want to know if I can legally vote on this, or how it...
Yes, Councilmember Elrod and the rest of the council and the audience, we have reviewed this issue, and it's a conclusion in my office several times over that there is no conflict, and let me explain why. First of all, there is no financial interest in the corporation that submitted the bid. Secondly, the part owner of this business is not related by blood to Mr. Elrod, is not a minor living in his household, and is not supported by Mr. Elrod. So for all those reasons, there is no conflict, and Mr. Elrod is free to vote on this item.
Thank you. I still would like to recuse myself from voting on this.
Okay. Our staff report this evening is by our Business Development Manager, Mr. Cruz Esparza. Mr. Esparza.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. On November 19th, the city adopted resolution number 2013-069, declaring the city-owned property at 13001 Central Avenue surplus land. Staff was directed to dispose of the property in accordance with state law. All necessary steps have been taken, and staff has followed actively in marketing the site for close to 45 days. A closed bid process was conducted with a period of more than 30 days available for bids to be submitted. A property bid packet was prepared and provided to all interested bidders. A legal notice was published in the Chino Champion on March 22nd, 2014, advertising the sale through the closed bid process. A for sale sign was posted on the building approximately 45 days prior to the end of closed bid, listing the Economic Development Division as the point of contact for additional information. Bid packets were also mailed to over 15 local and regional real estate professionals. Also, several local business people requested bid packets. On the bid submittal deadline, April 24th, 2014, staff received 2 closed bid to purchase the sale to purchase the site. The two offers submitted were as follows. One by Film This Production Services, Inc., in the amount of $300,000, and the second by Vista Medical Group in the amount of $250,000. On June 3rd, 2014, staff reviewed the two offers with the City Council Economic Subcommittee. The subcommittee reviewed the two offers and considered the merits of each offer. Consequently, they recommended accepting the offer submitted by Film This Production Services in the amount of $300,000. The terms of the transaction will be $300,000, all cash at the close of escrow. The prospective buyer proposes to use the building as office space for their current business. They are current Chino business. They have a second location out of the city. They are very positive business for the community and potentially could increase revenue through their business activity as producing potential film locations within the city. The recommendation is to accept the proposed purchase price of $300,000 by Film This Production Services, Inc. for the sale of the property located at 13001 Central Avenue in the city of Chino. Increase the general fund and revenues by $300,000. Authorize the city manager to negotiate the terms of the purchase and sale agreement, and authorize the city manager to execute the purchase and sale agreement, open escrow, and execute all necessary documents on behalf of the city to process the transaction. That's the end of my report, and if you have any questions.
Thank you. Prior to council questions or comments, I'll open this as a public hearing. I have several requests to speak on this item, 5 of them. The first one will be Lance Arthur. Reminded you only have 5 minutes for your presentation.
Understood, sir. I'd like to start by thanking the City Council for allowing me to speak. I'm here just to talk about Vista Medical, my experience with them, my tenure with them. It's probably a little bit longer than I'd care to mention, but been with them for over 20 years, both Dr. Martinez and Dr. Azar. Tremendous efforts. I cannot even imagine being with a doctor for that long, but I not only feel that he is a doctor, he's a definite pillar of the community, and I consider him a friend. He's been tremendous, both him and Dr. Martinez. It would be completely devastating for them to relocate. Unfortunately, what's happening to their current facility is the parking. I'm handicapped. I can't walk too far. There's no handicap parking. The place is just absolutely full, the parking lot. And it's just a very difficult situation to get in and out of for somebody that, you know, kind of limps along, if you will. Tremendous group, tremendous asset to this community. And I really hope that things will work in their favor. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Next is Benjamin Charbonnier. Did I pronounce that right?
That's good.
Okay.
They always chop it up, but that's good. So, hi, good evening. I'm on behalf of Vista Medical Group here. I've been in Chino now for 10 years, and it's been a great city. I've coached here for the better 8 years. Everyone knows me as Coach Ben or Sergeant First Class Charbonnier or Benjamin Charbonnier, whichever way you want to see it. But I was asked to come up here on behalf of Vista because of the situation where they're at now. I've been using them for a long time. It took me a while to find a doctor of that caliber for the city of Chino. Coming in from Hawaii, as you know, I'm in uniform, so we get to move around a lot. Spent 16 years in Hawaii, and I moved here, and I've been here for another 10. So I've been in the Army for 26 years now, and I'm still trying to push that 30, unless they kick me out. But it was important for me and the family to find a good doctor and I did in Dr. Azar's office with Dr. Martinez and the group there. Great people. They treat me like family, and I respect them like family and friends. It would be sad if we lost them due to their situation that they find themselves in right now. From my understanding, they're trying to get this other location. Like the gentleman before, he said the parking is horrible there with the IHOP being there. You know, you go to an appointment at 10, you might have to wait till 10:30 before you find parking. And to lose them to the community, which they're great, would be a sad day for the city of Chino if that were to happen. Then I have to go and find another doctor, and I don't want to do that. But in any event, whatever the decision is, I hope that you guys will take it upon to let them take over whatever location and look into the city of Chino, keep them here in our community. Thank you.
Thanks, Sergeant. Appreciate it. John V. Can't read the writing. Corbuna or Corluna?
Cordova. Cordova.
Oh, okay.
Spanish. I'm glad to be here in front of you people, but I'm here for Vista Medical Group. And I've been, as with Dr. Martinez here, for many years. Dr. Azar has taken position there now, and he does need more room. As I mentioned, I think office room, office is, you could find a place for office room. But patients are getting more and more and more. We need more ample parking space, as the gentlemen prior to me say. IHOP has taken too many spaces there, as many years as I've been going. Now, for Dr. Azar, he's a good doctor. Martinez here, very good. Now, here's the whole thing of office room. I see the difference office room. Now I see a difference of patients. We need more room for patients. As we all know, IMVA, you know how terrible they're having trouble over there in the VA department over there. I mean, I wish the whole place was bigger and bigger in Loma Linda. Los Angeles is even worse. Long Beach, forget it. You know, now we're talking about a building here that, sure, you know, patients. We need patients. And Chino will progress from that, not office space. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for,
Thank you for your testimony.
Having me up here.
Next, Zaka Azar.
Do I get a minute more?
Your time
taking me
starts
longer
when-
to get
Your
here.
time starts when you start talking.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us here today. I just would like to start by stating the reason we, in the first place, applied for or bid for this location, because for the past 3 years, literally, we've been looking for a relocation in the city of Chino. We were unable to find it. And unlike many providers in the city of Chino who have moved to Chino Hills, we stayed put, attempting to stay in the city and serve the population that we have served literally since 1973. When you purchase a diamond, you look for a color, cut, and clarity. Vista Medical Group is a diamond in the medical industry, and let me tell you our 3 C's. In terms of care, we provide care to literally thousands of patients per year. Young, old, Medicare, Medi-Cal, HMO, private, urgent care, industrial care. In terms of the convenience, there's a reason why we are on Central. Central is the center of the city. Many of our patients need access, use of public transportation. Above that, we are only a couple of blocks away from the hospital. Moving away from that location will absolutely create major problems to many of our patients. Count. 5 years ago, we had similar situation in Corona. With the city help, we moved from about 3,000 square foot facility to a 13,000 facility, seeing today about 100 to 120 patients per day. I would expect that if we move and given an opportunity for a larger facility, that our numbers will triple, if not quadruple. For those of you who have not gotten a copy of our proposal, I want to remind the council members that our proposal included availability of cash to purchase any property, plan, along with a building plan, that is, with a hired architect. We also showed actual approved funding from the bank, and obviously we have the contracts with major insurance company to sustain the business. Our logo is followed by a small term called "We Care for You." These are 4 words. Having been in the city since literally 1973 under the leadership of Dr. Martinez, I'm doing a little bit of math. We've been literally in town close to about 50 years. Let's say 40 plus. I would hope you would take those years and figure out a way, a reason for us to stay in the city. We want to be in the city. We've been serving this city. We enjoy being in the city. I pretty much have heard right now the summary of the issue or the conflict of interest. I have to assume that the writing is on the wall. And in the event we do not get this property, I would hope the city would find a way for us to get equal, if not a better property on Central. Vista Medical Group cannot be operating off Central. If we have to move away from Central, it means moving to another city. I just want to say something very simple at the very end. I do want to thank Mr. Cruz Esparza for working with us very, very hard and attempt to help us in finding a location. I would emphasize, if this location does not go our way, I would hope that the city would find other locations. The bottom line, we need to stay in the city or totally relocate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Next, Dr. Martinez.
Council members, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. What I want to do is try to give you a little history of Vista Medical Group, because I'm the one that started Vista Medical Group. When I graduated from medical school in Iowa, I came and took an internship at San Bernardino County, which is now Arrowhead. And at the time, when I finished my residency at San Bernardino, the only office space that I could find available happened to be in Montclair. So I did open an office in Montclair. I practiced at Montclair Hospital, but I also practiced at Chino Hospital in the early 70s and spent at least 10 years practicing at Chino Hospital. So my roots do go back quite a ways to Chino. But in the 1970s, I sold the medical practice to Dr. Azar. I wanted to try something different. I opened an office across the street in the, what is that called?
Central Plaza.
Central Plaza. And practiced cosmetic medicine for a few years. And then after 4 or 5 years, I started to do medical research, in which I now work at Catalina Research on Ramona Avenue in Chino. But then about 5 years ago, Dr. Azar asked me to come back to Vista Medical Group, and I was really pleased to do that because I wanted to get back to family practice. And it's really a pleasure to see some of the patients that I saw 10 or 15 years ago, like Mr. Cordova that spoke here. But in any event, my goal is now, I want to practice a few more years, and I'd like to retire as a Chino physician. I really don't want to go to Chino Hills. I'd rather stay here. So I'm asking that the board consider their recommendation and possibly give Vista Medical Group a chance to locate on Central Avenue in the property that you discussed. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. Appreciate it. That's all the written requests I have. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this issue may do so now. I'll close public comments. Council, do you have any comments? Eunice?
I think one thing that bothers me about this issue is it's really not up for debate. It went out to bid legally. Looking at the staff report, apparently there were approximately 30 people or 30 entities that asked for bid packages that could have bid on the property. And I guess we only received 2. It isn't our choice who occupies the building, but it was a fair, open, public bid. I don't want to see Vista Medical leave the city of Chino, but I think to try to spin it like it's our option is really kind of putting it in not the very good light, because it was a public bid. Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, this went out to bid. Are we legally bound to take the highest bid, or how would you not take the best bid legally?
Well, it's the way the request for proposal is written. The council may consider all the factors and may award to any one of the bidders that it wishes to award. It is not bound to award it to the highest bidder.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I thought it was kind of like when we take lowest bid that we would have to take
it's
highest bid.
It's not like a public works contract where we have to award the contract to the lowest bidder. That's the principal restriction on what the city can do in a public works contract. But as you know, in a professional services contract, the city isn't bound by the lowest bid. It's given the discretion to give to the professional that, in the council's opinion, is deemed to provide the best service. This proposal, as circulated, it gives the council the discretion to award to whomever it wants.
That's very interesting. So if we'd have gone out under the guise of the best use for the property, then cost wouldn't have been the base for awarding the I guess it is a contract, isn't it? So the RFP could have been put out for the best use for the property, considering the whole community then, instead of just highest bid.
That's exactly how it went out.
Oh, it did go out that
Yes.
way. So we can consider taking a lower bid.
Yes.
That's interesting. That puts a whole nother light on this. A whole nother light. Wow. Because they're both very good companies.
No, ma'am.
Very good. Go ahead.
Well, had the bids come in at the same amount, it would have been, I think, a much more difficult decision to make. But obviously, these are two good, fine businesses in Chino. Both are not. This isn't a business coming from Rancho Cucamonga or something. We have two competing Chino businesses. Both are excellent businesses in the community, and one is 25%, was willing to pay 25% more. So, from my standpoint, I mean, for the best interests of the city, it's more revenue, and it's not a big decision from my part. So, I mean, I'm more apt to go with the highest bidder. I mean, this is what we do. You know, if you bid on a piece of property, and whoever has the most should get it. I mean, that's the way it should be. And I think you're a fantastic business, by the way. Trust me. And I'm hoping you can find another location on Central. I know Cruz works very hard with all of our businesses, and I'm sure that there's a lot of property on Central Avenue. There's got to be something else coming along the pipeline, I would think. So, I mean, that's just my comments on it.
Cruz, have you attempted to work with their parking situation at all?
No, because it's very impacted. There are several property owners there, and I know some of the property owners don't get along.
Really? It's hard to believe.
It's a benefit to both businesses, the problem they have, because one feeds off the other, but unfortunately, it is very impacted there.
Yeah, it is. It is a bad situation.
Well, I was on the economic committee that suggested to staff that they forward this to the council. And it was a tough decision, but it came down to, it was a fair, closed bid, and he with the most money wins. And the other company came in $50,000 more than you did, Vista. Pardon me? Well, you should have done it out of the gate, because it's not fair. It's not fair to the other bidder for us to allow you to beat his bid. It doesn't work that way.
We were told that there was going to be a second opportunity to submit a different offer as well.
Who told you that?
I believe Cruz is the one that mentioned that we may have an opportunity to submit another offer. I'm not quite sure.
Well, I don't think so.
I don't recall mentioning that.
I don't think you'd do that. But as on the committee, I sat there and we went over it back and forth, and both are Chino businesses, and they offered $50,000 more than you folks did at Vista. And so under that pretense, and it was fair, and it's closed bid, And so the only thing we could really do consciously is go with the highest bidder, because that is going into the city's coffer, and that's the citizens' money. And if we could get $50,000 more, so be it. And so that's why we recommended it come to the council. It was all fair, so.
I think so as not to cause a possible conflict in the future, if we're going to go with strictly highest bid, then we need to say highest bid.
Well, that's what usually happens. But the bid package was for all comers. I mean, it wasn't just a specific
right. No, I understand
type
that.
of business. And,
I understand that.
I think the best thing I can recommend for this council to figure out another location for this.
Well, dear, we're not really in the real estate business, but we do have guys like Cruz that will help you. But we have lots of real estate brokers in our town and real estate agents. Huh? Well, yeah, but Cruz will assist you. I mean, but we don't like competing with Chino businesses as real estate agents looking for a place for you to occupy. But I'm sure he will continue to look for a place for you. But as far as this bid goes, it's a competing Chino business, and they came in the high bidder. So we on the committee thought, well, that's it. It was a tough choice, but he with the most money wins.
Well, I would like to say also, I would also like to say that we do try to help all businesses stay. We also try to attract new businesses, but we can't take on the responsibility of relocating a business that's here. That's not, I mean, we serve the public, and we do have staff like Cruz who helps as much as possible. But to kind of make it sound like it's our responsibility to find a relocation for you, it really is not our responsibility. It's not the city's job to find locations. Well, but you know, that's the way it came across. I mean, we hope you stay in town. At least I do, and I think the other council members agree. You do serve the citizens. You do provide a very valuable service. And again, Cruz does a phenomenal job in trying to find locations, but we can help, but we can't do it for you, if that makes sense.
Any other comments? We have a motion by Councilman Howie, seconded by myself. Please vote. Item passes 3-4, and Councilman Elrod has recused himself. So the staff's recommendation is approved. Item 23, reflexology and massage regulation. Our staff report is by our Director of Community Development, Mr. Nicholas Ligori. Mr. Ligori.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. At the July 15th meeting, the City Council adopted an ordinance that updated the City of Chino's massage regulations. And at that meeting, Council directed staff to look into the practice of reflexology and how that worked within the city's massage regulations, pursuant to a request by members from the American Reflexology Certification Board. And so staff did some extensive research. We surveyed about 25 cities within the state, see how they handled reflexology as part of massage. And of those cities, only 7 outright exempted the practice of reflexology as something separate and distinct from massage therapy, and therefore exempting reflexologists from the city's massage ordinance. In total, 18 of the 25 cities surveyed classified reflexology as a form of massage. So we talked to some of these cities that did provide a exemption or a different process for reflexology. None of them required accreditation from the Reflexology Board. One of them did have a parallel process for reflexologists to get a separate permit. Staff's concern with that is that's how Chino's ordinance was structured, and the reason why we switched over to this new ordinance that is in alignment with state laws, because it was creating a lot of conflicts. We were having a hard time enforcing the ordinance. A couple of the cities that we surveyed that did exempt reflexologists stated that illegitimate massage businesses were coming in representing they were reflexologists to get around the ordinance, and then there were illegal activities taking place in those establishments. Most of the local cities, Chino Hills, Montclair, Ontario, Corona, Rancho Cucamonga, Pomona, none of those exempt reflexology. They all have ordinances that are more or less consistent with state law. And so, based upon all of those factors, staff would recommend that the council receive this report and retain the adopted massage ordinance.
Thank you. Prior to council comment or questions, open it for the public comment. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this item may do so now. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Any comment by council? We have a motion by Councilman Howie, seconded by Councilman Elrod. Please vote. Item passes in the majority. Item 24, award contract 2015 concrete repair project. Our staff report is by Assistant City Manager, Public Works Director, Mr. Jose Allaire. Mr. Allaire.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. As part of the city's ongoing concrete repair program for this fiscal year, the Public Works Department is recommending various repairs to damaged sidewalks, curbs, gutters, and drive approaches throughout the city. Staff prepared contract specifications and bid documents, and on July 29th, we received 5 bids. CT&T of Diamond Bar, California submitted the lowest bid in the amount of $188,292.86. Based on staff's review of the bid documents, this contract has been deemed the lowest responsible bidder. Staff is also requesting authorization to spend up to $11,707 for contingencies to fund unanticipated or issues as they come up out in the field when we get under construction with this project or these projects. And that brings a total project cost to $200,000. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any question on these items.
Thank you. Prior to council comments or questions, I'll open this for public comment. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this item may do so now. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Eunice?
Yeah, I have a question, Jose. With change in technology, especially around trees, I've noticed where we are taking up concrete that has been raised up by tree roots and we're replacing it again with concrete. There are better products out there now, instead of putting concrete back that will then be, pushed up again by roots. So I would like to request that staff consider some of the more modern products. It's like a big thick rubber mat that can go around to where you can adjust things periodically, but to replace it with cement again, I think is not exactly the wise thing to do around trees. So in the future, I would like staff to look at some alternatives.
We'd be happy to look at those. We've already looked at some, and the cost has always been a concern to us. But the benefits, again, are great as well, because as the trees grow, the roots come up, and it pushes these sidewalks up. There are clear benefits, and we'd be happy to continue looking at those. And then next year, when we bring this program back to the City Council, we can update you on our findings and any other needs we may have on that.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments by council? We have a motion by Councilman Elrod and a second by Councilmember Howie. Please vote. Item passes unanimously. Item 25, Professional Services Agreement, Water Main Replacement. Councilman Howie will recuse himself prior to the staff report.
Yep, I have a conflict with this particular awardee. So.
Yes, Mayor, for the record, I'd also like to state that both as item 25 and 26 deal with KEC engineers. Their clients of Mr. Howie. He has received income in excess of the limits established by the Fair Political Practice Commission. Therefore, he must recuse himself. And for the record, he is off the dais and he will not participate in this discussion or voting.
Thank you. The staff report this evening is by our Assistant City Manager, Public Works Director, Mr. Jose Allaire. Mr. Allaire.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. For this fiscal year, the City Council approved 2 new capital improvement projects, or CIP projects, for the repair of existing water lines. One addresses water lines along Riverside Drive between Central and Oaks Avenues, and the other addresses water line repairs to 3rd Street between Riverside and Lincoln. Staff released a request for proposal, or an RFP, for design and construction services for these projects. On June 10th, 2 firms submitted proposals. KEC Engineers of Chino, California was rated the most qualified engineering firm for this job. Additionally, they submitted the lowest cost proposal in the amount of $120,550. Therefore, it's staff's recommendation that the City Council approve a professional services agreement to this firm. That concludes my report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Ertler. Prior to council questions or comments, I'll open this for public comment. Anybody in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Eunice?
Jose, you usually put the results of all the bids. You didn't put the second bidder's amount in.
This was not a bid, it was a proposal process. And we ranked the proposals, and KEC was ranked the highest. Additionally, like I said, they had the lowest cost as well. So in this case, cost was a factor in rating, and we got fortunate and scored the highest for a local Chino company here.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion by Councilman Elrod, seconded by Councilmember Ulloa. Please vote. Item passes 3-4, and Mr. Howie recused himself. Item passes. Item 26, professional services agreement, construction inspection services for the East Side water treatment facilities. Again, our staff report by Mr. Allaire.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. The city's master plan of water facilities describes the needs for groundwater supply wells, water treatment, storage, distribution facilities necessary for the provision of potable water service to the city. Due to the increase in development occurring at this time in the city of Chino, the next phase of master plan improvements are necessary to provide potable water to new homes and businesses. On November 5th, 2013, the City Council approved a Memorandum of Understanding, or an MOU, between the city, Lennar Homes, and Lewis Operating Corporation. This MOU described a joint participation approach to accomplish the design and construction of infrastructure for a 3,500 gallon per minute East Side water treatment facility. Additionally, this MOU specified a maximum financial participation of $2 million by the city from our water development impact fees. Also, while the East Side facility is moving forward, 2 other developers are under construction with large water improvement projects which require specialized inspection services from the city. The city issued a request for proposals, or an RFP again, for inspection services and received 2 responsive proposals. The city evaluated the proposals, and KEC Engineers of Chino was ranked the highest. Additionally, KEC proposed the lowest hourly rate for inspection services, and these are the specialized inspection services that we need for these type of facilities. Therefore, it's staff's recommendation that the City Council approve a professional services agreement in the amount of $685,000 with KEC Engineer for inspection services for all 3 of these projects. This concludes my report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Allaire. Prior to council questions or comments, I'll open this for public comment. Anybody in the audience, sound like a broken record, that wishes to testify on this item may do so. Sure. Then you got to come up and state your name.
In the housing projects, as they build them, do they lay a line for reclaimed water?
Oh, the blue line?
Yeah.
Purple. Or purple? Whatever.
Yeah, purple. In the housing project, even though it's not available, they lay a line anyway? In case it's available later on?
We run recycled water lines on new development projects, and where appropriate, we will hook up to landscape areas. But on each individual home, it depends on the location, availability of recycled water, whether it's used.
Right now, it's not legal, I think, on individual homes.
Yeah, but on the lettered landscape lots, it is, and we can do that. And we follow all the regulations for the proper separation between potable and recycled water.
No, I asked because of the mess out there on Archibald. We have huge ditches all over the whole country, and I just wonder if they're putting in purple lines, or if in a couple of years going to dig it back up to put in another line. That was my concern. If the lines are there, it saves a lot of money. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Well, as a matter of fact, we irrigate the 71 freeway with recycle.
Oh, yeah, well, that comes under ag though if you want. Don't ask me why.
Okay. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Any council questions? We have a motion by Councilman Elrod, seconded by Councilmember Ulloa. Please vote. Item passes with Councilman Howie recusing himself. Okay. We'll get the councilman. Item 27. The November 4th, 2014 general election. Our staff report this evening is by our city clerk, Ms. Angela Robles. Prior to the vote and discussion on this item and the advice of the city attorney, the city council will consider each of the proposed resolutions separately in order to provide incumbents, Councilmember Elrod and Councilmember Ulloa, the option to recuse on the respective resolution appointing them to office. Angela?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. On June 3, 2014, the City Council ordered a general election to be held on November 4, 2014 to fill 2 council member seats. The nomination period for this election began on July 14th and concluded on August 8th. During this candidate nomination period, the only qualified nomination papers received were from the 2 incumbents, Earl C. Elrod and Eunice M. Ulloa. At the close of the nomination period, in accordance with the Elections Code, Section 10229A, the City Clerk provided to the City Council a certification stating that there were not more candidates than offices to be elected, and as such, the City Council has the option to appoint the persons nominated, appoint an eligible voter if no one has been nominated, or hold the election. As required by the Elections Code, a notice stating these facts was posted in 3 public places on August 8, 2014, and an amended notice to include the meeting date was posted on August 11, 2014, in the same public places. Additionally, this notice was published in the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin and the Chino Champion newspapers. Presented for your consideration tonight are the resolutions to appoint Earl C. Elrod and Eunice M. Ulloa to the offices of member of the City Council for 4-year terms and to cancel the November 4, 2014 general municipal election. The provisions of the Elections Code and proposed resolutions have been reviewed and approved by the City Attorney. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Angela. Councilmember Elrod will recuse himself from the vote of Resolution 2014-047, and he will return for the vote of Resolution 2014-048 and 049. The vote is to adopt Resolution 2014-047, providing for the appointment of Earl C. Elrod to the office of member of the City Council for a 4-year term in lieu of an election. Is there anyone that wishes to address the city on this item in the audience? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Are there any comments by the City Council?
No, except she's going to have to clear the board.
Yeah. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. That has to be cleared. It's shown Elrod. Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Howie, seconded by Councilmember Ulloa. Please vote. Item passes 3 yes and 1 recusing, that being Councilman Elrod. Now we'll get Elrod back here, and Councilmember Ulloa will recuse herself. Okay, we are to adopt Resolution 2014-048, providing for the appointment of Eunice M. Ulloa to the office of member of the City Council for a 4-year term in lieu of an election. City Council member Ulloa has recused herself for the vote of Resolution 2014-48 only. She will return to the vote on Resolution 2014-049. I would open the item for public comment. Seeing none, I will close public comment. Any comments from the City Council? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. And we have a motion by Councilmember Howie, seconded by Councilmember Elrod. Please vote. Item passes 3-4, and Eunice Ulloa recuses herself. Okay. Next is to adopt resolution 2014-049, authorizing the cancellation of the November 4th, 2014 general municipal election. Does anyone in the audience wish to address the city on this item? Under public comment? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. I will entertain any comments from the city council. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. I do have one by Councilman Elrod, seconded by Councilmember Howie. Please vote. Item passes unanimously. Well, I'd just like to congratulate both council members. We don't have to go through that election process, so this happens a lot here in the city of Chino, that people don't seem to want to run against us, which I think says something for the performance of this council. Things must be running okay, or they would be lined up in several cities with the candidates. So congratulations to both of you. That's great. Next is mayor and council reports. I'd like to encourage everyone to attend this summer's final farmers market tomorrow on City Hall lawn from 5 to 8:30 p.m. Don't miss out on the fun activities, including great food, shopping, entertainment, and children activities such as contests and much more. If you'd like more information, please contact Carolyn Owens Community Center at 909-334-3258. Also, I want to remind everyone that City Hall will be closed Monday, September 1st in recognition of Labor Day. And then City Hall will open the following day, Tuesday, September 2nd, at its regular operating hours from 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We'll start with Council Member Howie.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Gee, you're the only one that didn't get to recuse yourself. Are you feeling left out?
I know, I was like, you're exiting left and right around here.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's see, on August the 13th, I attended our investment committee meeting, and we talked to Councilman Duncan and myself and city manager and Rob Burns. We looked over the city's investments, and investments are doing well, although we don't seem to be getting the interest we used to get on a lot of those dollars. The market is pretty, we have to be very, very safe and conservative with our investments. And so we're just not getting a lot of interest. But the good news is we have money in there, and so that's, and we're not losing. So that's a good thing. On the 14th, I attended the Rotary fundraiser, Rancho del Chino, Skeet and Eat, and it was the fourth such fundraiser. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun out there, and raised some good dollars for the Rotary Club, and almost all those dollars go right back into our community, which is for all the different programs that the Rotary Club does. And today, I got to attend the police department promotions. This afternoon, we got a new lieutenant, we got a new sergeant, we got a new corporal. I don't know what else. We got some more part-time, full-time positions filled at the police department. So it was the mayor was there, and always happy to see the excitement for especially when the kids are there and they get to help pin the badges on their father or whatever. And so that's always exciting. So hats off to the police department, and I'm sure you've got some new happy employees that have been promoted. And last but not least, I wanted to wish everybody, we won't see you till after Labor Day, so I want to wish everybody a happy and safe Labor Day coming up here in a couple weeks. That's my comments. Thank you.
Eunice?
I attended the Chino de Salter Authority Board of Directors on the 7th of August, and the CDA expansion is progressing very well and hopefully should be done in the not too distant future. Very, very expensive project, but necessary. I've also been attending the Watermaster recalculation of the safe yield, and our city attorney is going to be joining the meetings now and participating. It's a very, very important issue that's up, and the safe yield is how much water we can safely take out of the groundwater basin and not do any permanent damage. And the safe yield has been recalculated, and it is dropping, which is very serious. And so, again, our city attorney is going to be joining us now and being involved in it. The future impact is unknown at this time, It is projected to decrease. Of course, if the drought continues, then that only makes the situation worse. This is such a serious situation. And again, I'm going to urge our city to look very closely at our own grounds and very seriously consider getting rid of turf that is just simply ornamental. It is the most water-thirsty plant material that you can have. And we're going to probably get down to a situation where you either water plants or have water for people to drink. I just can't stress how important this is and how dire the situation could be. So as the whole subject progresses, I'll be bringing information back to the council, and I'm sure we'll probably get to the point where we're going to have some workshops and figure out what we're going to do about our future. So that's all I have this evening. Oh, well, except that I really want to thank the citizens of Chino for honoring me in being appointed for another 4 years. I was first elected in 1984. My goodness sakes, I've been on this council longer than some of you have even been alive. That's kind of embarrassing. But it really has been an honor. There have been some difficult times that I'll say we've all gone through. We've had some challenges, and we've kind of faced a lot of stuff together. But I thank you very much for your confidence. It really means a lot, and it's very humbling. Thank you.
Thank you. Talking of water, I think we all got the message from IEUA. They're going to have another Colorado River tour, and we can only have 2 council members go because of the Brown Act. But I've taken that tour. It's pretty interesting, all the way from the Colorado River all the way through the desert, and it's very, very interesting. And how they dug that thing back in those days, well, if you had to do that today, you couldn't get past the EIR. There'd be lawsuits flying every which way.
When you look at our history and the things that were accomplished, it was phenomenal. The foresight of our forefathers was incredible.
And they didn't have the machinery to drill through those mountains like they do now.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then they close off that canal, and the guys get in there and start cleaning it. And then they get about a week's worth of work, and they turn the water back on. So these guys cleaning that canal got to keep moving fast because the water is coming down from the Colorado River. It's really interesting.
It is.
But, yeah, so anybody, council member that, or staff that hasn't taken that tour, this is the time to get back to IEUA and tell them you'd like to go. Councilman Elrod.
Yeah, that is a very interesting tour. I've taken it, and I was thinking about you and the tour. Remember that lake that had the island in it? That would be a good place for you fishing and stuff. Oh, yeah. You should
Except
apply.
There's no water there now.
There's no water? No, there's water there. That's the whole point. But I do want to thank the citizens of Chino for having faith in us and their continued support. We try to do the best for the city, and it means a lot to us when you don't have to run an election. It's not an easy task, and I just want to thank everyone that gives us confidence in running the city. Also, I'd like to call Jose Alera, please. I want to ask a few questions. The city's going to start looking like a war zone here. We've approved about $4 million worth of road work and sewers and water and it's starting already on Riverside Drive and some of the other streets. So you use a quick report of, and we approved how much tonight it's going to be in construction. So if you just give us a brief overview of it.
Sure. Well, I'm going to be asking Matt for some time off because we are going to be very busy out there, and I'm sure we're going to impact our residents. We will try to keep it to a minimum and establish good communication with the residents and businesses as we move forward. But we're at the tail end of finishing the 12th Street storm drain, which is a project you awarded several months ago, and that goes from Chino Avenue to Schaefer, and it will address drainage in that area. We currently had closed Chino Avenue for a few days to take care of some catch basins and some cross-gutter issues that we just need to pour across the street there and get that done. And that's why there were detours set up throughout. We're about to start on what we call the Benson Avenue water line and the Tronquil storm drain project. That's all wrapped up into one project. And then we added on, if you recall, I think it was like $425,000 worth of work for 16th, 17th, 18th, and Serene Street to address all the leaks in there. So the contractor is going to be opening the road on Tronquil, putting the storm drain in, putting the water line in, and connecting all of that along 16th through 18th Street. all in one big swoop, and then work on the Benson Avenue water line. That'll be about a 90-day project, and we're about to start on that. I don't have the exact date tonight, but it's about to start right around the end of September. Once the pipe arrives, we'll be starting on the Riverside Storm Drain project, which will be around in front of the school district and continue west to connect to the existing storm drain that we put in that went from Yorba west several years back to take care of all the drainage in that area, and we're about to get going on that. So those are the big projects that we have going on related to storm drain and water lines. We have already, we're about to start the Monte Vista well project, which in Monte Vista, excuse me, the Mountain View, I'm sorry, well project, which at Mountain View Park, we're going to be installing a new well. And then we're going to be taking a raw water transmission line down Chino Avenue. It's going to go east to the East Side Treatment Facility, which is the inspection services. You approved this just this evening. And construction will start in that park, so we've notified all the residents, and we're about to start on that as well. And then over in the city of Ontario, we have a property, which is where the East Side facility is going, and working with the developers, Lennar and LOC, to meet the future demands. We've completed the design. We're working on the agreement to fund every aspect of this, and this will be funded by development impact fees. And but there's a lot of activity going on over there, such as grading for the site, and we are working with the City of Ontario to get that project moving forward. And then the Mountain View well will connect to that to feed the raw water, as well as two other wells over in the former, or no, not the former, the D.R. Horton project that is north of Chino Avenue. There's a well site that we drilled several years back. We put in a well, and we spent $2 million putting that in. We're going to take a water line down State Route 83 Euclid to connect to the transmission line that you awarded the inspection services for today, which 3 wells will feed the East Side facility to give us a 3,500 gallon per minute capacity that we need, that will tremendously improve our water infrastructure, and that it will carry us for many, many years. So those are the big projects. If there's one in particular that you'd like to know about that I may have missed.
Jose, that well site by D.R. Horton, we didn't use it because the water was tainted. So now, or if I remember right, wasn't there a problem with the water quality?
Yes, it requires treatment.
Right, and so that's why we're taking it to the East Side facility.
Yes, we cannot put that water into our system per the Department of Health Services. We don't meet the standards, so we're going to treat the water, and then we'll be able to use that.
Okay, now when I had met with you and Matt, we had talked also about the East Side facility being equipped for when the Ontario plume eventually creeps down because of the wells, you know, the CDA treatment pulling the water down, or CDA wells pulling the water down in that area. Do the diffs include the additional cost for treatment of that pollution? Or is that something that we're going to have to look at funding separately?
We don't know yet, because we don't know when that's arriving. We do have money in diff, and it all depends on how efficient we are, the bids that come in, when the next phase of the treatment plant is constructed. I can tell you we're already looking at the full 7,000 GPM and starting to talk to people about constructing that in preparation for our future needs, but we're still several years out on that. If that plume comes over to us, and we know that we're going to need to treat for it, we're going to have to really analyze that, determine what the costs are going to be. But the facility is capable of treating for it, but it's how we run the facility and how it's going to be managed, and how much salt and hydrochloric acid we're going to need. Those will increase. And when it comes to the ongoing maintenance, DIF doesn't fund that. But if we have to buy other equipment, that is DIF eligible. And if we have enough money left over, you know, we would definitely use that. But if we don't, we'd have to come to you and have that discussion with you.
Okay, well,
But it's too early for us to tell. Right?
Wildermuth, as you know, works with Watermaster on all of this recalculation of the safe field, and a great part of that is where these plumes are moving, the Chino Airport and the Ontario Airport. So it isn't if it's coming, it's when it's coming. And I just don't want us to be caught short-sighted, so perhaps it'd be a good idea to have you involved in some of those meetings also about the recalculation of the safe field, because that kind of data is coming forward.
I've already signed up to attend, and I know Matt and I will be going to the meeting as well.
What they're doing is they're meeting the first and the third Thursdays for the work group, and then of course the workshop's going to be at the Conservation District in September. But there's a meeting this Thursday, and I can forward the agenda to you. There's some pretty heavy items on that agenda.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
be 10 class from 10 to 12 Thursday.
Oh, okay, and if all possible, if I can attend, I will.
I'll forward the agenda to both of you. Thanks.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's all.
City manager, thing to report?
The only other thing on the side, they're also doing some significant overlay projects. And in fact, I think there's one on Riverside Drive between Norton and Yorba. And so hopefully we're wrapping that up tonight, but it is creating some inconvenience for folks, but we appreciate the investment in our infrastructure.
It seems like people want their streets paved, and when we go in there to pave them, they get mad because they can't get inside their house. So you can't win. Mr. Gutierrez, anything to report?
I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Pruitt, anything to report?
Nothing to report.
Brian Yos from the Fire District, anything to report? Chief, nothing? Nothing to report. Thank you. All righty. We'll stand adjourned. Our next regular meeting of the City Council will be held on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2014 at 7 p.m. Closed session at 6 if necessary. You folks have a great evening.
Can you read Spanish?